All right, great. So welcome back. So now that we've officially created our very first product, let's continue on with the walkthrough in Shopify to get us set up. All right, so now let's go click home. All right, now let's scroll down and take a look at where we are in the walkthrough. It says we're moving along nicely. So now that we've officially added a product, we must customize our theme. So this will lets us edit the look and feel of our online store. Choose a theme and add your logos, colors, and images to reflect your brand. So in case you don't know what a theme is, it's basically the skin of your, online store, the look, the aesthetic. So if you've worked with WordPress, you might know what a theme is. It's the same thing in Shopify. It is just the physical skin of your website. So themes vary in terms of color, size, and so forth. So let's take a look. Customize theme and see what we have here. Okay, so we have the theme of Dawn, which has been auto-selected, by Shopify. If we want to take a look at this, we can click View Your Store here, so we can take a look at what this theme looks like. And as you can see, this is what the theme looks like. This is the Dawn theme. As you can see, it's pretty bland, not much to it, of course, and there's our product that we created earlier, right? And so this is a very basic theme to get us started with Shopify for the sake of having us set up. So now let's go back. So then let's say I want to edit this theme. What could I do? Well, then I would click the Customize button. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so now we are in the Shopify Theme Customizer window or section of the Shopify platform. What do you do here? Well, what you do here is that you get to edit your site's theme, aka its physical appearance. Not the products, not the content, but the actual theme itself. So the color scheme, the logos, the buttons that appear at the menu, and images that you can add and videos that you can add and so forth. So that is all here. Now, as I'm scrolling on the right side of this, we can see that this, you know, uh, theme editor has been split into two sides. We have the left here, the left panel, and then the right one. So what does it mean? Well, what it basically means is that on the left, we have all of the things that our right side is showing us. So whatever you manipulate or change on the left will appear in real time on the right. This is just a preview here on the right of what our changes would look like on the site. They do not become live, aka not everyone will be able to see the changes that you make until you click this very important save button in the upper right. So just be aware of that. But nonetheless, let's keep talking about this. So let's start off with the top left, right? So it says Dawn Live. This basically means that what we see here on the right is already currently live. So we can see that that's true because if I go to see my sample store, what do we see? Well, we see the actual theme that we see, Dawn. But of course, if I make changes here, they will not be live until I click save again. So let's talk about these homepage sections, subsections in the homepage for our theme. Okay, so let's start off by talking about the top left. So we have the announcement bar section. As we can see here in the top left, the announcement bar section is this bar up here which says, "Welcome to our store." If you've ever been, on a e-commerce website or a store online, an online shop that you like to, shop at, you'll typically know that they have like, sale announcements at the top or anything that's new items, new catalog at the top. That's what an announcement bar is typically reserved for. So ours is pretty basic right now. It just says, "Welcome to our store." As you can see, we have this at the very top left above everything else below. Why is that? Well, this is because what we have here on the left is in chronological order. Whatever is appeared first in a website of our theme is what will be the highest. So since this is the first thing at from the very top to bottom, it is at the highest on the hierarchy of this layout on the left panel in the Shopify theme editor. So this is how this works, to keep things organized and in order so you know where everything is placed. So the lower something is, the lower it'll be here on the left side. The higher something is, the higher it'll be here on the left side. So now when I hover over this, I have a little eye here. This just takes us to the ability to hide it or show it. So if I don't want to see this anymore or I want to remove it, I can just click the eye and it'll take it away. Now, then we have, 6 dots, and then my cursor turns into like this, like knuckle type of closed hand. What this means is that I'm allowed to drag it, right? So I can drag up or down. This is a cool feature that Shopify has, but of course I can't drag it to another part of the website. I can only drag it, let's say, above or below another announcement. This is because these things are set and regimented to be where they are. I obviously can't have an announcement bar's content somewhere else because it doesn't belong there unless I add it in a separate location, right? And we'll get to that later. But nonetheless, if I click it though, I am able to then change what this says. So like, let's say I want to make this more exciting, I'll add, 2 exclamation points. And then color scheme, I can change the color scheme. If I don't like this color, I can make it gray or whatever other colors this theme has, right? To make it pop more. And if I wanted to, I can even include this announcement bar with a link, right? So like, let's say I have a Halloween collection happening right now that I want people to see when they click on welcome to our store. If I add, like, let's say, a product page to link with this announcement bar, when people go to my, store on Shopify and click welcome to our store, it'll take us to that hypothetical Halloween collection. And I can do that by clicking collections. And then let's say I had one that said Halloween here. For the sake of this, let's just pretend all collections is Halloween collections. And then boom, as you can see here, a little arrow was added. So then now it's clickable, right? And you can see the cursor changes as well. So as you can see, this is a great way to create connections within your own store to boost sales or awareness about your products. Let's go back. So that was the announcement bar. Then after that, we have the header area, right? So this is the header area. In case you're not certain, the header area is what is above pretty much every content in your website layout, and that's typically where the menu is located along with the search bar or the add to cart and checkout button, and also where your store's brand or logo is located. So here we can see that this entire white bar is our header, and we have a logo, a menu, and then a search button, and then a cart button. And so this is all reflected here on the left side, right? So we have, of course, the header, and then we can change the background color of the header. If I don't like this color, I can make it gray, or black, whatever I may want to change it to. But the point is that that is for that sake of purpose. If I didn't want a text logo, I could select an image here and change this logo to an image logo. So if your, business has a, picture logo, you can definitely add it here by clicking select image, and you can upload one from your computer or from copyrighted free images that are available on the Shopify platform for you to use for free. Obviously you wouldn't use this for a logo, but just know that this is something that's available to you. I can also change the width of the logo if I wanted to. This is just, if I had an image there, this is why nothing is changing. And I can also change the position, right? Middle left, top left, whatever. This can get very, detailed and so forth. Just know that you have all of these available to you if you'd like. And now for menu here, we have main menu. Main menu is this menu that says home, catalog, contact. These are our main menu buttons. But let's say, you're not satisfied with this menu and you want to change it or customize it. Well, then you would click edit menu, and then it would take you to the menu button in the Shopify dashboard to then let you rearrange the order of the buttons or add new buttons. We're going to get to that later, so we're not going to delve deep into that. And then change here, of course, we can remove the menu or yet again change the menu, another way to do it. Show separator line, this is just, again, self-explanatory, a line that can appear under or below the header to create more of a distinct look. Okay, and then we have enable sticky header. So in case you know what a sticky header is, sticky is basically to keep something up or at the top. So a sticky header is a header that will always show on the screen as customers scroll. So if you've ever seen sites where you scroll down and then the header just stays there at the top still as you're scrolling down, that's a sticky header. Okay, and then after that we just have some theme settings. This is just technical stuff. For this theme you can add all of your social links and so forth. For the sake of this, we're not going to do so because we just started off. But yeah, if your business has Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, etc., you can definitely add them there, and it's actually recommended. So just be aware of that. Okay, so then let's move on to the image banner. The image banner. What is the image banner? The image banner is this like random picture of like watches and cameras and stuff. So this image banner is basically where you probably want to add a big high quality image that represents your business, has to deal with your business, has to do, maybe you want to show off all the products that you sell here, a big crisp image that will appear here that will be vivid and make your website pop, right? You want to make sure you have a big crisp image. And as you know, when we come to Shopify, we deal with images and image sizes in terms of pixels. So for a huge crisp image banner like this, I would recommend something like at least 2000 by 2000 pixels, right? A big crisp image. But just be aware, don't make the image too big because then it might take a long time to load and then some customers may not even see it. And that's a very bad thing because it will make your website look incomplete. So now in an image banner here, as you can see, we have first image and second image. In case you're wondering what that's about, that means that we can have an image slideshow. So we can have multiple huge images here in the banner. So they can rotate on their own, after a period of time. So that way the person that's visiting the site, the customer, is not just looking at one straight image. Okay. And then of course we can adapt section height to first image size. So again, depending on how tall your image is, the height of your image, this will be adjusted. That's just what that is for. Desktop position, desktop text position. This is just where the text appears, on the desktop version of your site. You can have it at the center or the top. Right now we have it at the bottom. It's just, minimal changes. There it is at the center. And that's something I want to talk about. So when we come to your Shopify theme, these themes are already preset to be both mobile, tablet, and desktop friendly. So you don't have to worry about extra code or none of that stuff. Shopify already creates these themes to be very friendly for all devices. And so that's just why these type of settings are being asked if you want to change, because you can rearrange where some things appear on the desktop version of your Shopify site as opposed to the mobile version and so forth. And you can even take a look at what it would look like here. So at the top right, you can see I click this desktop icon. I can see what my website on Shopify looks in the mobile version, on the desktop version, or just full screen, right? But by default, it'll be set to desktop. So just be aware that you have that. And while we're up here, you also have an undo and redo button. So, if you ever make a change that you regret or want to redo a change that you undid, you can definitely use these arrows. So that's just a quick shortcut. So let's keep on talking about these things. So show text box on desktop. Again, this is just the background to this text box. You want to leave it alone as such, just for the sake of going through these things. Image overlay opacity. Opacity is just how transparent or not transparent an image is. So as you can see, it was set at 0, so it's very transparent. But when I put it at 100, it was very opaque, aka not see-through. Color scheme, so again, we can change the background color of the text box if we do not like that white. It's just completely up to you. Okay, mobile layout. So see, now we have a section here just for the mobile of the Shopify site. So mobile layout is what will appear for the mobile version. It says stack images on mobile. So what that means, stack images, is that the images will be placed on top of each other. So if you want that look on mobile, which is recommended because it's very scroll friendly for mobile version users, definitely keep this checked. And then show text below images. We want to keep this checked as well because we want people to know what our images are about. And again, if you want to transfer to the mobile version, you can just go to the top right, and click the mobile setting after clicking the desktop icon. And this is the mobile version of your Shopify website, of our Shopify website, right? Great. Okay, and so then let's go back to the desktop mode. And that's pretty much it for this section of the site. So right now we've covered, the announcement bar, the header, and then the image banner. So what else is left? Well, let's scroll down. We have more to talk about, right? We have this big white area here under the image banner. Now we have this rich text area here in which it's the from talk about your brand to the button label button, as you can see here. And if again I don't like this color, I can change it to a different one. And this will only affect that part of the site. So let's go back real quick so I can show you again. This is the rich text part. So this encompasses 3 things. And if you haven't noticed by now, each section of the site has little subsections. Those subsections are what the section contains. So we can see that this rich text area contains 3 things: talk about your brand, the sharing your information blurb, and then the lastly button. So 3 things. And again, if I want to hide it, I can click that I. If I want to adjust the position, I can move it up or down if I don't like it where it is on the site, right? But for the sake of just keeping things where they are, where we found them, we'll just leave it there. Okay, so now let's talk about rich text. So we talked about the fact that we could change the background color, but what does make section full width mean? Full width means basically that it'll be, across the site entirely, right? It won't be, only covering half the page or half the browser page. It'll cover the entire length and width of the website. So if I uncheck this, that means that it'll stay, in the center or the left or the right, whatever this theme is coded to keep it in. But making the section full width means that it'll expand depending on the computer size, screen, and the width of the browser window. Okay, let's go back. Then we have talk about your brand. So this is just basic text here. If I don't like the size of this text or I want to change what it says, of course, I'm free to do that here. Maybe I want to make this, add a colon at the end of this, or maybe I want to make the text bigger, right? I can do large, right? That I can do as well. That's the heading. So that's this, of course. Heading will always be the biggest text on a block or on a section of a website when it comes to text. And then we have the share information about your customers. Share information about your brand with your customers. This is this 2 sentences here. Again, I can make this bold, or I can italicize this. I can even add a link to this if I want to link it to, again, a collection of mine that I have products in, or a web page in my store, whatever the case may be, right? And we can even have that open a new window. There's endless possibilities to this with the customization options, but we're just going to leave things as is. We're just going through this to show you what you have available for you and what you can do and how you can manipulate that. And then underneath that, we have the button, this button that says button label, right? Instead of that, maybe we want to say, something like shop now, right? And then we can add a button link to our products. And then we can say all products, right? And then boom, when people click this, it'll take them to, all of our products. So then let's go back. All right, so that's pretty much it for that section of the site. So then when we see under button here, we can add a block, but it says that it's 3 out of 3. So technically we can't, which is why it's grayed out. What does that mean? That basically means that this particular, block, and this is something I'll talk about right now, that Shopify's themes are laid out in blocks. What is a block? Well, basically all of these, right? Image banner, rich text, featured collection. These are all blocks. And if you worked with WordPress, you should be familiar with what blocks are. They are stacked on top of each other to lay out the content in your theme on your website. We have a variety of types of blocks. We have video blocks, image blocks, text blocks. This right here is a text block. If we scroll above, this was an image block, right? So again, this is just what block means in case you're not aware. So we can't add a block to this because for this section of the site, or for this specific block, only 3 are allowed. See, it says 3 out of 3. If only we had 2, let's say we remove this button, right? We would have 2 out of 3, and then we could add an extra one. But since we only have 3 slots and we're using all 3, we can't add another one. So that's just what this means. It's nothing big. Again, you can play around with this when you're working through your own Shopify store to see, which blocks you like best, which the blocks that you'll be using the most are definitely text blocks and product blocks like this one here, featured products. Okay, great. So let's continue. So then after that, we have featured collection, which is this featured products block in which we only have one product in our store. So that's why we only have one showing up. It's the famous shirt that we created right earlier. And so if on your home page of your website, because again, if we look at the center, we are editing the home page theme of our website. If on the home page you want to highlight certain products that you like or that are featured or that are best sellers, whatever the case may be, you can definitely do so using one of these featured product blocks in which you have a featured collection showing you items that are, either best sellers or ones you want to highlight. And of course, this is great because you have a lot of, wiggle room. You can change this featured products to say, best sellers, right? If you prefer, right? And then you can even grab from which collection on your site it takes from, right? So if I were to change the collection, we only have one now, but it says homepage. But let's say I created a collection, which we're going to do later in this course, and I named it best sellers. And then I added a couple of products that are actually bestsellers to that collection, then I can grab it from here and have it appear on my site here, right? So since we don't have that created, and don't worry, we're going to get to that later on, how to create collections in Shopify. But for now, just know that this is a capability that you have, and that's how you customize your site to show certain products above others if you prefer that, of course. So let's get out of here. And we can even show how many products, would appear here in our featured / bestsellers. Right now it's showing maximum of 4, but I can do, 10, 12, whatever have you. Right now, this is not going to change anything because, of course, we only have one product in our store. But just know that this is available to you. And then it says enable view all button if collection has more products than shown. So that just will show you a view all button if, let's say I only have 4 items to show here, but I actually have 12 featured or bestseller products. Then underneath here, a view all button will appear. Enable swipe on mobile. So again, this deals with just a specific mobile version of the site. If I go to mobile here and I enable the swipe, that means that the person or the customer will be able to swipe left or right instead of scrolling up or down, right? That's just a thing that we have available to us in Shopify here with this theme. Okay, and then product card, so image ratio square. So that means that our products will appear as a square thumbnail. You typically want to leave this alone unless your products are like a different shape and you need them to appear at a certain ratio. So that's when you would adapt it to the image. But typically you want to leave this as a square. And so then underneath that, we just have some more customization options. Show second image on hover. Hover, in case you don't know, is when you go above an image or text on a website, you're hovering over something. So with your mouse, so show second image on hover. If I had another image attached to this product, then another image would appear when I hover over the product. That's what that means. Add image padding. In case you don't know what padding is kind of like adding space to each corner of the image or text or element on a website. And as you can see, when I checked this here, there was some space that was added around to create kind of like a border effect. Show image padding, right? So you can see the difference here. That's just what padding is. Show image border. So again, if I want to have a little border, you can see that it's very faintly adding a border to the image here on the product. Minimal difference in this theme, but again, something that you have available to you. Show vendor, if you want to show who is the seller or product vendor, you can have that here. I typically would leave this as off, but again, it's up to you. Show product rating, again, if you have, again, we'll talk about this later, you can have reviews, customer reviews on your Shopify store. If your customers are leaving reviews, do you want the star rating to appear under the product? Yes or no? You can check this if you do. Okay, so that's pretty much that for the featured collection block. So again, there's a lot that you can do, right? And again, you'll know or probably have in mind what you think will be best for you, right? If something like this will be best suited for you or not. So that's the featured collection block in our homepage in our Shopify theme. Underneath that, we have collage. So when we scroll down, this is what's underneath. We have a collage block. A collage block, again, we can have, a video playing here or a variety of images and then some, sample products that are relevant to that video or images. Maybe you want to show off a certain collection, right? Like a Halloween collection here or whatever collection you have here. And then, you have a video related to that, featured product related to that collection, and then, click to see the entire collection here. So that's just what this block is for. You can change, of course, the heading name. So, I can say Halloween collection if I prefer. I can change layout. I can say, do I want the large block on the left or do I want it on the right? Right? Again, and for the mobile phone, do I want it as a collage or do I want it as a column? All of these things that are, of course, just completely editable for either, mobile versions and desktop versions. So just be aware of that. And then let's go back. So then underneath collage, we have, yes, 3 elements: video, product, and collection, which is video, product, and collection. As you can see, these are all intertwined and all aligned with each other. We have a video block underneath that. So this is great also for Shopify. Let's say you have a business and you have a lot of videos showing off your products or storefront or whatever have you. And let's say those videos are uploaded on like YouTube, right? You can definitely grab a YouTube video and paste the URL link to your YouTube video for your business here. Or you can also, of course, upload your own video from your hard drive from your computer. It's completely up to you. A video is a great way to show off your business and show off what you offer to customers. It's up to you if you would like to include this, right? And we can even have a cover image for the video. So a cover image is just an image that is there when the video is not playing, right? So before you click play, it's just a default image that's set there and it's displaying there. All right, so that's the video block. So as you can see, we have a lot of different types of blocks in Shopify, as we mentioned earlier. And so then underneath that, we have a multi-column block. If we scroll down, we'll see it. Here we go, multi-column. So again, what would I use this for in my business? Well, maybe I can talk about here, why people should buy from my business, right? And then I would have like 3 reasons why. So I can do like, fast shipping, 30-day money back guarantee, and then a variety of sizes and colors. Or I can use this multi-column block for testimonials, right? Or customer reviews. And then I can have like a list of reviews here paired next to each other of customers that are satisfied and have given me great reviews and feedback towards my business, right? So I can, change this to say, customer reviews, right? I can definitely change it to say that. Or if I want to make it something more personalized, I can say what our customers are saying, right? And then leave it there as that. And then underneath that, I can add for each column, the wording. And again, I can have even images added here at the top above each customer review. I can change the alignment. Do I want the text to be at the center or the left? I can change it to be different backgrounds, right? And then underneath that button label, I can change this probably to see more, right? In case people want to read more customer reviews. And then I would link that to a page where I have all my reviews, right? And again, I can enable swipe on mobile if instead of scrolling, I want the customer to swipe left or right on the mobile phone version of the site. All right, so then let's continue. So let's click again the little arrow to go back on the top left. So lastly, we have the footer section. But before I get to that, I can see here that we have two buttons, right? We have add column and add section. Add column is if I want to add a fourth column to this block, right? And I can have an unlimited amount of columns. If I want to add more reviews or and so forth. As you can see, it changed it from 3 to 6 because I kept clicking add 3 times. So that's just what I can do for there. But underneath that I have add section. So I can add a new section to my Shopify homepage theme. And then in that section, I will have a list of different types of blocks or sections in Shopify. And as we talked about earlier, Shopify has a variety. We have text sections, we have image sections, video sections, etc., contact forms, email signups, you name it. So just be aware that you have a variety of these, and it is just completely up to you in terms of what you feel best works with your site. We covered pretty much all of these, so there's no need to rehash that. But of course, when we talk about apps, sometimes apps have their own columns as well and their own sections that you can add to your homepage, but we'll get to that later when we talk about apps in Shopify. So that is just what the add section button is for. But now let's move on to the footer. What is the footer? The footer is the final part of a website. It is at the very bottom, polar opposite of the header, right? Which is at the top. Footer is all the way at the bottom. And typically what we have in footer is, another menu, sometimes a search bar, privacy policy, terms of service, those type of pages, contact information, blah, blah, blah. That is what is in a footer. And again, for this theme, we can change the background, we can change the look of it, and we can also change just the layout. Here we have 2 columns in this footer. We have quick links to the left and heading to the right. And then underneath that, we have a subscribe newsletter column and block. So let's start off with the very top part of this footer. So we have the quick links and the heading, right? And so again, how did we get here? We went to footer, and then now we're down here, quick links. If I wanted to change this quick links to say something else, I can do so here. But of course, we're just going to leave this as is for now. The thing to take notice here, though, is our footer menu, right? We can change our footer menu to be a different menu. So we had a header menu, right? If you remember, if we scrolled up, we can see our header menu was home, catalog, contact. If you don't want to repeat that, you can have a footer menu which is separate from your header menu, and that footer menu can have different buttons. In our case, it has a search button instead of contact, home, and so forth, right? So just be aware you can change this as well. And then next to that, we have heading. So here, we can add whatever we want here. We can add contact information, or we can add, here it says you can add promotions or store details and so forth. Again, something that is dependent on you, what you prefer. But now let's move back. And lastly, we have the, of course, subscribe to our emails, newsletter block, right? So let's click footer. It'll take us to there. Let's say I want to add a colon at the end of this, I can do that. And so email sign up is something that's definitely recommended for you to start building an email list for your customer base in Shopify. I would always recommend having this somewhere on your site, whether at the very top or at the very bottom. And just be aware that it is something that's great to have, because by building an email list, you're also able to send, scheduled newsletters to your customers on Shopify and so much more. And then underneath that, we have show social media icons. So again, we talked about this. If your business has, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram pages, and so forth, we can have this appear on our footer as well. Lastly, country/region selector. So if your store has this type of feature where the customer can select what country they're in, you definitely want to keep this checked because that will have a drop down for them to be able to do so. Then underneath that, you can also do the same for languages. So I'm sure you guys have been on websites in which they come in different languages, and there's a drop-down menu that you can click to change the website into a different language. If you want that to be the case on your Shopify web store, you can make sure that this is checked so the customer has the option of having that. And then at the very last part of our theme layout in Shopify, we have our payment methods, which are these payment icons, right? PayPal, American Express, Visa, blah, 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 right? The different methods in which customers are allowed to pay to purchase products on your site. You definitely want to keep this checked so it's easier for people to know wherever they are on your site what it is that they can pay with. Okay, and then at the very bottom, you just have, the copyright, John Sample Store Shopify powered. Great. So now before we move on, I just wanted to make sure that it's clear that we have only been editing the home page in our Shopify web store, right? We have other pages as well, right? Like catalog and contact, which we didn't get to yet. But out of what we changed in terms of what was between the header and the footer only relates to the home page. Everything we changed for the header, including the announcement bar, and the footer will be followed by every single page in your Shopify theme. So I want you to make sure of that. The only things that will change depending on the page are what come in between the header and the footer, which is everything from the image banner here to the columns here with the customer reviews and testimonials. That is only for the home page. But everything else above, which is the announcement bar and the header, and then below the footer, will be the same for every page on your Shopify store. And you want to make sure it stays that way, because you don't want every page to have a different footer or a header, because then it would be very confusing to follow along. All right, so now with that cleared up, let's click from homepage here in the drop down in the center at the top and take a look at our other templates. We have other templates of Shopify pages that we have yet to get to. But what does this mean? What is a template? A template is basically a pre-made and pre-coded Shopify layout for a specific page and that page's intention. So for example, what we just did was we edited the homepage template. We have pre-made, pre-coded Shopify templates for products. For example, let me click here at the top where it says products, default product. This is our default product page that Shopify has pre-coded and pre-made for us. What we can change is things like the order of the images or where the buttons are placed or the colors of the buttons, the size of the font, simple things like that. This is what you can definitely do and, of course, change to your liking on Shopify using this Shopify theme editor function in the Shopify platform. So just be aware of that. So again, homepage is not the only page in your Shopify web store that you're able to change and manipulate. You can do that for other pages as well, collection pages, product pages, or just general pages such as, your contact page, which will be, where you have your contact form. A contact form block, as you can see here on the left, is being used. And then underneath that we have, blog posts and blogs. So if you didn't know that on Shopify, you can have a blog, right? So if you're someone that likes to blog about updates to your business, that's something that Shopify allows you to have, as you can see here. And on top of that, we also have other things such as the cart page template, So when, a customer tries to look at their cart on Shopify, what do they have added to their cart? We have a template for that as well that's pre-coded on Shopify. And then we also have, of course, a checkout. So what does the checkout look like? The checkout page when the customer is checking out, getting ready to purchase. What does that look like on Shopify? Well, it looks like this. And you can always take a look at that by going to your, customize theme tab in the Shopify platform. But the point is, these are pre-coded templates that Shopify has already made for you to work the way that they do. The most that you're able to do is, change things like the font, the color and stuff like that. And you want to keep it as such because especially if you're starting out and are not familiar with the code, you want to make sure that you don't mess with that stuff. You just leave it as is, especially if you're beginning with Shopify. But yes, Shopify comes with these pre-made templates for your page's purposes, cart, checkout, blog, contact page, and so forth. And you can always check these by clicking the middle here at the top and then clicking the drop-down menu. Okay, but for the sake of this course and just for, starting off, we were tasked with editing and customizing our homepage, and we have done that. So what is the most crucial step to do now? Well, it is, of course, as you probably guessed, to save our changes by clicking here, the save button at the top right. So let's go ahead and click save. And there we go. Our changes have officially been saved. So now we have completed the second step in our Shopify setup walkthrough of customizing our homepage using the Shopify theme editor. So I hope this helped.